Hey guys, this is Ruben WHD back with another video doing my review on Night of Champions. So I'm giving a recap everything that happened tonight. And so it was a very solid pay-per-view, I gotta admit. And so yeah, let's run down with the matches and talk about what happened. And so let's start off with the pre-show, which was a 16-man battle royal. And it was a decent battle royal, nothing major, but Zack Ryder ended up winning the pre-show battle royal. I'll give it a 2.5 out of 5. It wasn't that impressive. There wasn't really that many moments that surprised me, so I'll just give it a 2 out of 5 for that match. Next was the Intercontinental Championship, which was The Miz versus Rey Mysterio versus Sin Cara versus Cody Rhodes. I gotta say, this was a pretty decent match. Very enjoyed seeing Rey Mysterio and Sin Cara against each other. I'll give it a 3 out of 5, and The Miz was able to retain the title. And so, yeah, I really think it was a good match. And so, yeah, I'll give it a 3 out of 5. Next was Kane and Daniel Bryan versus R-Truth and Kofi Kingston. It was a normal tag team match, not really anything spectacular, but it was, there were some parts where it was entertaining to watch when Kane and Daniel Bryan argued. So I'll give this a 3 out of 5 as well. Wasn't the best tag team match, but it wasn't the worst. And Kane and Daniel Bryan defeated and became the new tag team champions, which is okay. Let's see how that works out in the next few weeks. Next was Antonio Cesaro versus Zack Ryder. And so not really anything spectacular with this one. I'll give it a 2.5. Nothing that great. I wasn't really looking forward to it, but Antonio Cesaro was able to defeat Zack Ryder and retain the U.S. title. Next is Randy Orton versus Dolph Ziggler. This was actually a really good match, and so I'm going to give this a 3.5 out of 5. And so they were going back and forth, but in the end, Randy Orton defeated Dolph Ziggler. Next is the Divas Championship match. Later in the beginning of the pay-per-view, Caitlyn was found on the floor. She said she have twisted her ankle, and so she would not be able to compete. So Eve took the place and defeated Layla, and so Eve is the new Divas champion. So we'll see what happens in the storyline with Caitlyn and Eve. So I give this match a 2.5 out of 5. It really it kind of lasted a little while. So I'll give it a 2.5 out of 5. Next was Sheamus versus Alberto Del Rio, and so this match, I wasn't really looking forward to it, but it was a really good match. So my expectations were alright, but this one was a really good match. The bro kick was reinstated, so Sheamus was able to use that finisher, and so it was a really good match going back and forth. We saw some parts where Alberto Del Rio had a chance to win, and some parts where Sheamus won, but in the end, Sheamus retained the World Heavyweight Championship. It was a very good match. I'll give it a 3.5 out of 5. Next is the WWE Championship match, CM Punk versus John Cena. And I think this match just stole the show. For the first time, CM Punk is in a main event since TLC last year. And so it was really good going back and forth. We didn't know if Paul Heyman was going to interfere. He was in ringside. And it was a very, very good match. And so in the end, CM Punk and John Cena both were in a draw. So in the end of the match, they had their shoulders, both of them had their shoulders on the mat for 3 seconds. So it was considered a draw. First, it looked like John Cena beat CM Punk, and then the referee changed it, and CM Punk kept the title, but it was a draw. And so it was a really good match. They were going back and forth with the GTS, the Icon Device, the Attitude Adjustment. It was just a really good match, and I really, really enjoyed it. So yeah, guys, that's basically all the entire pay-per-view. By the way, I rate the match 4 out of 5. And so this wasn't the greatest pay-per-view of all time. It was a good pay-per-view. It wasn't the worst. I'm going to give this pay-per-view a 3.5 out of 5. This was a very good pay-per-view. A lot of matches were good. Some matches were bad. But overall, it was a good pay-per-view. I was glad no other matches were added, like a Brodus Clay or a Ryback match. And it was a pretty good pay-per-view, I gotta admit. So yeah, guys, thanks for watching. Make sure to hit the like button and subscribe. Yeah, guys, peace.